Nothing excites me more than talking about women being in the women's world. But then again, the woman cannot exist without the man. We shouldn't forget that. And whenever we hear gender, we like to think it's just about the woman, but it's both the woman and the male. But today our concentration is on the female because it's the 8th of March and it's Women's Day. A very interesting day. It has so many themes over the years, but this year's theme is so exciting because it's dwelling on the comparison, or is it concerning the urban woman as well as the one in the rural areas. We're holding each other's hands and moving at the same pace. I love the studio today because I have a beautiful audience. I have beautiful guests who are also going to help us talk about exactly what's going on in the women's world. So to start with, I have Aunt Stella. She is a marriage counselor. She's also an academician. So we're going to talk education, we're going to talk marriage, we're going to talk life and women. Then Samba Yonga, she's a media personnel, but to be specific, she's a principal consultant coming from Uku Atenga. Am I correct?
Yeah.
What's that? Uku
Atenga. It means to create.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you so much. And then we cannot leave women in sports. We cannot go without talking about how females are doing in the sporting disciplines. Matilda Maba from NOSPA, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
All right. We are glad you're here as well. And later on, we'll be joined by Lungo Osimbotwe. She is a radio on-air presenter. Of course, these are the guests who have a wealth of information that's so broad in terms of what we'll be discussing today. So let's start off with just a little bit of history on International Women's Day, which falls today on the 8th of March. Now, it commemorates the movements of women's rights, of course, and while the first observance of Women's Day was held on February 28th in 1909 in New York. Now, 8th March was actually suggested by, it was suggested by 1910 at a conference to become the International Women's Day. So it had a shift from February up to coming through to the 8th. Let's get down to also what theme we are working with as Women's Day. Samba, your card doesn't want me swollen.
Imagine.
Okay, so this year's theme, we're working with Time is Now, Rural and Urban Activism, Transforming Women's Lives. So our discussions will be circled around this with different aspects ranging from health, career, all the way to politics until the housewife. So we're going to be talking about all this. Be part of the show by going to TV2 Zambia, like it, and give us your thoughts. But ladies, we'll start with careers for women. Are we taking this too far? Is it taking over the nature of what a woman is supposed to be? Anyone can take it.
Well, oftentimes, you know, I tell, especially the women, that what a man can do, a woman can do better. And, you know, people would argue, what do you mean? Why is it that a woman can do things better? It's because of the way a woman is wired. A woman is somebody that is very sensitive. A woman has got intuition, which men do not have. And if you look at a woman looks at things from a bigger picture. They focus and they are detailed. So if a woman is given an opportunity, they are able to do better. But unfortunately, as we will continue discussing, women have been denied certain privileges, certain things, and as such, we've been lagging behind. But I know with the support of the men, we'll get there, because we need the support of the men. We cannot get to the top if the men do not support us. So we'll get there, but even as we depend on the men to support us, I think we need not to be complacent. We need to be a people that you know, are proactive. We need to be on top of the game. We need to be able to do things as expected. So we need not to lag behind and be too expectant and sometimes demand things that maybe we don't really deserve. So if we are going to demand for things, it must be things that we deserve, things that we really need. And at the end of it all, I think we'll be able to get there.
Okay. Somebody looking at her like you've got something to say.
Yeah.
Agreeing or disagreeing?
I agree on many of the levels, but also I think that as human beings, because first we're human beings before we're a man and woman, we're individuals, and all of us have different desires, different strengths, different abilities. And I think the only thing that separates one person from another, one man from a woman, is access and opportunity. ability, right? So the access to something, the opportunity to do something. And a lot of the times women, like has been discussed, have been prevented the opportunity or access to do certain things. But recently they have the allowance to do that. And now they're discovering their abilities, they're discovering their intuition and what they can do, and they're developing that. And I think it's about providing a space for that to happen. A lot of the time that does not happen. I think that's where we need to start thinking, rather than thinking of man and woman, because it's still a dividing factor. We're human beings at the end of the day, and what we need to do is provide each other access and provide each other opportunity.
Okay, I like that. Audience, please feel free to just signal our beautiful production assistant right next to you if you have something to say or if you have a question before maybe we go ahead with what they are talking about. So be part of us as well, please. Now, talking about careers. You wanted to comment?
Yeah. For me, as the theme has gone, our time is now. It's about recognition, because as women, we are doing quite a lot of things, but for us to be recognized all the time, we have to make an effort to do that. So as we look at the theme now, we want our male folk and everyone involved to start recognizing the contributions that women make, starting from home up to the career level.
Okay. Others would argue that women are given these opportunities and they don't take them up. And because Ngulube, I see you. Thank you so much. Welcome. Hello. Your punishment for being late. Are women taking up the opportunities of these platforms that was talked about, creating this access? So do you think that women are really seizing these opportunities, these platforms that are being given to us?
Well, I think that, yes, we are now changing the narrative of what it is to be a woman. As a first-century woman, I think we are, 21st century woman, we are taking up the platforms that we've been given to tell our stories and also to, you know, just inspire and motivate the next woman. So I do think, yes, we are getting there. We're not yet there, but we are getting there.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you so much. Just to introduce her, she is Ngulube Simbotwe, radio on-air presenter, and she's going to be helping us talk about these issues as well. You know, when you're talking about careers, politics is one of those careers that women are involved in. And when you look at social media and any platform that talks about people or women in the public sphere, there's all this slander when it comes to women in politics. They have a certain image, but then again, others go on straight. So when we talk about this variety of women in the political scene, what can you say about this?
It's very interesting, actually, the attitude that you see on social media, and actually it makes me sad because we realize, like, that's not who we are. Because we set up the Women's History Museum, and one of the reasons we did that was to restore the narrative of women. So if you look at women in history, they actually held positions of power. They were actually at the center of leadership in our community. So it's women in leadership or women in politics is not something strange. We have women in history who negotiated deals and who acted like diplomats and negotiated between warring groups to make sure that Zambians kept the land together. That's women in politics. That's women in political participation. So it's not something new. But the problem is when the patriarchy came in with colonialism, it removed women from the narrative because they didn't recognize women as leaders. So that changed a lot of the dynamic of how women and men relate with each other. And now we think we're a people who cannot accept women as leaders, and yet we've always had women leaders. If you just simply look, even Bediango now, who's the dual leadership in the Tokale, she's a leader with Mukuni. Look, they have equal setting, but you don't hear that because it's passed out of knowledge. So part of the idea is the need to restore that history and the need to restore that narrative. So we start understanding as a community that it's not a strange thing. We actually did women equality before anybody else did, and we need to know that.
Talking about the museum, how's that going? How much traffic are you getting?
It's quite a lot of traffic. There's a lot of interest. So we have a hypothesis. We want to test it. Like if we continue putting information out there that encourages people to understand things in a different way, our mindsets will also change. And so far it's working. We just finished a project with Wikipedia, the global platform where you can put content on, and we've trained about 40 writers to put information on women of Zambia onto Wikipedia, so that when you type in women in Zambia, information will pop up about Zambian women, whether it's historical, whether it's dead or alive, and the significant things that they did. Because the idea is to create a balance between the information that women are insignificant when they actually are, and in our history they've always been.
Okay. When we talk about careers, we talk about politics, we talk about jobs, the corporate world, be it being your own boss, setting up a corporate, even in organizations like NOSPA, there is a hierarchy, I'm sure. Last week or recently, I heard a story on one of the international media talking about the salary disparity. I don't know if that has touched Zambia as well. When you look at Jen is CEO of company B, and Paul is CEO of this company, but they are both on the same level and the woman is getting less. I don't know what you can say about that when it comes to salary grades.
Yeah, it's quite prevalent, especially in sport. You find that a female coach and a male coach, they've got the same qualifications, but then when it comes to emoluments, you find that she's getting only 10% of what a male coach can get. Even when they are funding trips, going for activities or outings, you find that the men's league will get more funding. Even camping, you find that the men folk, they will be camped in a nice hotel, whereas women,
it's gone as far as accommodation.
Yes, it happens.
But I thought we princesses were supposed to be accommodated in better accommodation.
No, they don't really look at it, and even if you fight for it, the parliament have recognized, the national team for men, but when it comes to the national team for women, they don't even look at it. So it's still happening. But
what are some of the efforts that you've put to try and correct some of these things as NOSPA?
Well, we do engage the parliamentary committee on sport and make our submissions, but as usual, it falls in deaf ears. We keep on, putting everything on the agenda, talking about it from time to time. Yeah. Okay.
Precious, do we have any comments, any contributions, any questions?
Talking about what our mother just said there, the inferiority complex about men towards women. I think the first step that has to be taken is change of the mindset. Even the Bible says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So first of all, our selves, we need to be transformed, and their minds have to be transformed to say, okay, if I'm to empower such and such a person, if the women go and play football, it's for the betterment of our country, not only them. They shouldn't only look at it one-sided. So it's not about who's better, it is about who is doing the right thing to get to the right position. Thank you.
All right. I love the way she quotes the Bible. Lungo, you want to say something?
Here from Lungo.
Yep.
I just want to add on, it's also about standing up for ourselves. We have to stand up for ourselves. If we know that our male counterparts are, getting a higher or salary or what's the word? If they're getting a higher income, yes, we have to stand up for ourselves as well and say, no, I should get as much or even as more because probably I'm doing a much more better job. Just a story. What happened earlier in the year, I actually received a job offer to do some work, okay? So now this work, male counterpart was also involved. So it was like a co-presenting and all that. And I was told, when I actually went on to find out how much this person was supposed to be getting and how much I was getting. And I found out they were getting like half, way above what it is that I was offered. And when I asked, I was told, no, you can't get the same amount as he is getting because probably his he's more famous, or you know, he's got more numbers and all that. But I said no. I'm doing the same work that he is doing, so why not? Why shouldn't I get as much as he's getting? And I stood up for myself, and fortunately, my salary was increased, and
You were at par?
Yes.
Yay! That's a whole lot better. When Ngulube just first came on, she was talking about the 21st century woman. And we are in Africa, we are in Zambia. Our culture, our traditions are so embedded in our everyday life. So when I think of the 21st century woman versus our culture, the balance, the tilt, embracing some of those traditions, moving with the times, how can we go about that as women who are living in the 21st century but are African?
I think it's about striking the balance. And maybe before I comment further, just to add on what my colleagues have said on how we can level the playing field, I think it's about formulating policies that we should be able to implement. In certain sectors, we find that we don't have guiding principles as to how things are supposed to be done. So if we can have policies in place and be implemented as expected, then I should believe we'll get to a place where we'll be at par. But if we're not going to have policies, then it will be a matter of how does this one feel. We will not have a basis to use as to come up with a criteria as to who gets what and that kind of a thing. But getting to the 21st century woman, I think there are certain things we can learn from the past, and there are certain things that we need now to change. And when we talk about change, it's about cultural practices. There are certain cultural practices that I think we need to somehow, forgo. Things like, and sometimes it's even sayings like the place of a woman is in the kitchen, and a woman cannot get to the top. She's only a woman, and like you've indicated, when it comes, it overflows even into careers. Because if we have that perception to say the place of a woman is in the kitchen, then even when this woman wants to come out of the kitchen and do something, they'll put certain things, barriers, to hinder her from getting to the top.
How is she going to go to parliament and make that 40% representation and talk about the policies that you're talking about?
Exactly. And then people will be saying, look at her, she cannot be working late. Because this is a 21st century woman. She wants to have a job, and maybe this job is demanding. When she's at work in the night, they'll say, look at her, she's a woman. She's supposed to be cooking for her husband, but she's at work. If this woman is supposed to travel because there's a conference, there's something, look at her, she's always traveling. But how many times have we heard society talk about the man working in the night, talking about the man going for conferences and all? So sometimes some of these opportunities, women are denied these opportunities, and even when they grab the opportunities and they want to go forward and do something, society raises against them. And sometimes, unfortunately, we raise against each other. As women, we pull each other down as women. Instead of supporting each other, sometimes we pull each other down. But if we can get to a point where as women we can support each other and do our best, I think in this 21st century, we should be moving in a certain direction. And if anything, we need not to be very comfortable. We need to look at what is it that is making the men tick. Is it that they are getting a good education? Is it that they are exposed? What is making them tick? So there's something we can learn from the men. As we learn that something from the men, let's do it and see where we can get.
Okay. The learning curve, 21st century. The other argument would be that now this women's rights, these gender fights, these career women, these 21st century women are now trashing completely what we are as Africans, are now moving to no balance, but I'll just be a 21st century woman. You like it or not, this is me. Your comment?
Again, I don't think it's about realizing what your culture is and what the strengths are in it, why people tend to want to say, let's discard history or let's discard our culture, because it's been misconstrued. Like, we don't understand it clearly. We don't understand it properly. I was just giving an example of, we used to have women in leadership, but now we're ganging up against and being discriminated against, because that aspect of that knowledge doesn't does not exist. It's not there in our psyche. So we can't react in the way that we're supposed to react. By the way, this issue is a global issue. We come from a place where men for centuries are the ones who've made the rules, are the ones who've held positions of power, and have not wanted to let go of them. So they will not just give it to you just like that on a silver platter. You have to fight for it. You know, you have to demand that you have equal positioning, and that's what it takes. So it's not about being a 21st century woman or a cultural woman, because they actually both have the same power and positioning. It's just that one was obscured and the other now is being more prominent. So what we need to understand that we just need to get back to that same level and have the same opportunity, fight to be in the same boardrooms, fight to be in the same positions of leadership, and it will be equal.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a comment from our audience.
Okay, I'm Chimonya Ngandu. I would like to comment on the point that she had raised earlier on, to say that the main problem is simply because most of the times women are mostly regarded to be lower than men. It's simply because ladies and women do not present themselves as capable. In most cases, we find that a woman would not have the confidence to come up and talk to the people about herself. And as she said, she was the one who went ahead and said what? I did my salary to be the same as his. It's simply because she had the confidence to come out. Most of our women do not have that confidence, and this is what we have to build up. When we build that confidence in ourselves, people won't have the power to intimidate us.
How do you think we can do that?
Mostly, it's simply because the only way we can do it is to get rid of other beliefs that we have. Mostly, women have got that tradition. It might be out of our traditional background or maybe our spiritual background, which can also cause our future to be slightly low. What I mean is mostly, like our biblical background, some religious believe that a woman is not even supposed to talk. If they're in church or what, they just have to keep quiet and listen.
Your church is going to be on you. I'm trying to connect in Chumunya, Ngandu, and
all right. Mostly you find that they won't have any say. Even if they have questions in the church, they won't raise up their questions. So meaning they are remaining inside instead of them coming up. And some traditions might even not allow them to go outside and continue with their talents and whatever they believe in. It would be wrong for them to do so. So if we get rid of certain beliefs, that will help us to forge ahead. Thank you.
all right. Walumba.
You know, I just wanted to comment as an activist in sport. Because when we started NOSPA, which is a national organization for women in sport, physical activity and recreation, we were advocating for the rights of women so that they can look at the gaps that are there so that they are a level playing field. Now, to do that in sport, it was not easy to be believed first that women have got issues. Because in the boardroom, you are outnumbered. And then the women who are there, some of them, they are just there to be on the board, but then they are not supporting, you know, the issue that is there at hand. So you find that what is happening worldwide, what we've realized is that the Me Too, issue which has come up,
Yeah.
we women have come to realize that we are enemies of our own situation, and we've been condoning this for a very long time. It's about time we started supporting each other and become, positive and positive to whatever issues are there, and learn to support each other. Because if you're outnumbered, there's very little that you can do. I know that I created a lot of enemies. They didn't like me. I was a lone voice. I would thanks for the media. They would give me a space where I can say whatever I want to say and challenge, because I'm with the microphone, and then they cannot,
You will listen. I have got the microphone.
I've got to say it and all that. And when we managed to get to raise more women in leadership positions, again they start turning against you. that you talk too much. So it's this balance that we should have there, that we realize that we are contributing a lot. Let's support each other. Let's support the upcoming girls who are, joining us in the society, to be able to realize that they've got what it takes to be a woman.
All right. I think this is a very appropriate time for us to go to this interlude, because Angela has talked about pull her down syndrome, not working together, how can we network. But there is a woman who has brought women together via a fashion show, and designers, women coming through together to work together and see how they can discuss not only fashion, not only issues of Zambia, but everything that a woman has to go through. But she's doing this in a creative way via a fashion show. Let's look at this.
Women's Day, Belita Period de la Cote has organized a fashion show bringing together women. That's beating the notion which says women do not support each other. Well, is that true? So I'm here with Belita, and she's going to tell us her views in regards to that notion. Hello, Belita.
Hi, Tracy. How are you?
I'm very fine. Thank you for according us this interview.
You are most welcome, and I also welcome the audience.
So first and foremost, tell us what prompted you to come up to organize this fashion show?
What prompted me to do that? Women, as you rightly put it, are beautiful people. And I would have taken this opportunity somewhere else on another day. But I've put it on Women's Day because I want women of all backgrounds. This is why this show is free. I want them to come and be encouraged that a woman is indeed a leader. The way a woman is a leader at home. A woman cooks, a woman works in the office, and a woman is never tired the whole time until the family goes to bed. So I want to show a woman that it's not only at home. You can take up something like what I have done. And this is why I've put it especially on Women's Day, to encourage one another.
Okay, so in encouraging one another, as you said it, what's your opinion when it comes to the notion that women do not support each other, that we've got a pull her down syndrome when it comes to women, in those regards?
Tracy, as you say it, about my opinion that women are not supporting each other in business. I'll take you back a little bit in 2004 when I came into this country. You know, having experience of starting my business from abroad, I was shocked a little bit when I found out that indeed women, especially here back home, support was very, very poor. But as time goes, I have really seen improvement. I have seen an improvement. Women are starting to support, and women, I have a lot of buyers here who are women who love my collection, and I have heard them speak a language which was very different from 2004. The language of 2004 was, you know, Are these things made in Zambia? Oh no, me, I only dress things from America. And proudly, they would say, without any second thought. But this time, it's something else. Is this from Zambia? Wow, thank you so much. I will have this in my wardrobe. At least I can be proud. So women in Zambia, we are growing. We are changing. We are coming to our senses to say, when I have a baby, I work very, very hard taking that child to school. And if I cannot prepare a ground for my child's future, which is employment in the country, then I am not a parent. Because I can take millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars abroad to bring in a lot of business from outside. I am promoting that child in that country to get a job tomorrow. While the child whom I'm taking to school cannot be employed in those countries. So we have to create employment at home, and woman is the leader in that. She has to do it.
So in what ways can we women be able to support each other in businesses and everything else?
How do we support each other? It's not only about spending money. You know, a word of encouragement goes a long way. I feel much comfortable now that I have this business in 2018 here in Zambia with a woman who has developed her mind. So it's not only about money, it's about the positivity, the positive, and encouraging another woman who is making a difference in the society.
And then in what ways can women be able to stand up and do what they want, even no matter how many times they get discouraged and the challenges that they may face? In what ways can you encourage? Because I believe you've gone through challenges. So what's your word of advice to women that want to stand up and do what they want to do like you have done?
Like I've already elaborated, that a woman is a leader. A woman who cannot stand up and buy food for her children. You know, a man can give her money, but it's her who understands what is good for the children. So it is the same in the country. In the country, a woman should be put in her place to show how strong she is in policy making. A woman can make policies which are strong. A woman can make policies, and a woman always implements. That's what I've noticed of a woman. So if a woman makes up her mind to say, look, I have been doing this all along. I won't hesitate mentioning, because me, I'm in textile, I'm in fashion, so I'll talk about that. Go to school. Go to school and learn how to create a beautiful garment which somebody can wear and be proud of. Than going to buy salaula. Salaula is taking us nowhere, yeah, women. Salaula, I can go to buy salaula today. It's good, yes, because my pocket allows it. But does it really benefit? Does it make my mind think? Or I'm just encouraging those who are really looking for a place to go to dump their old things. They are looking for a place because they cannot dump anywhere. The world is full. So they come to a Zambian woman to say, well, I have this, I don't want to dump them in my country. I've come to dump them to you. Really, is that going to take us anywhere? I think women, we should discourage each other from allowing other country to dump garments into this country. Let's allow each other go to school, learn the art of making a garment. I'm having a fashion show tomorrow, 19 hours. Why not come in numbers? There's no charge. This is how I'm encouraging. There is no charge. I want a woman to see. Let them come to say, Belita, so you did this, eh? Can I also stop doing salaula and I learn the art, then I can also create employment in my country for my children. So I think that encouragement is what is required by women. Not all the time buying salaula, not all the time going abroad, spend money abroad, come back home and be proud that I have a business. Because that's not a business.
Thank you very much for that. It would be nice to have you.
Thank you.
All right. As Beta said it, let's encourage each other as 21st century women. Let's support each other in whatever that we do. So from me, Tracy Lwando is back to Judy in the studio.
We're having a lot of fun in the studio. It's all things girls, it's all things women, it's all things female. Today is the 8th of March and we are celebrating Women Inspire, hold each other's hands and get there. Be it a woman in Shangombo, a woman in Northern Province, the furthest part of Northern Province, Kaputa, coming all the way to Southern Province. So we've got each other's hands, whether in the urban area or the rural area. We are discussing things that affect us and the journey that we walk in everyday life. I have in studio all my guests who are coming from different fraternities, but we are talking about the woman's life. Now, when we talk about marriage, it's funny, there's an irony today because you see on one end there's this frenzy of wanting to get there, wanting a life partner, but then on the other hand there are people who have, I want to find a subtle word for it because the word I'm thinking of right now is not TV friendly.
Well, apprehensive, sudden,
who are take getting a partner very casually, like, no, I don't want to get married now. All I want is us to be together. And the one who's laughed knows the word I'm looking for.
Reluctant.
Yeah, you know, it's not reluctant. Yeah, you can say reluctant. You've got the word? A TV-friendly one? It's like all we want is to get together, to just hook up, to just have sex and then leave it there.
The casual.
The casual one. Like, I don't want a life partner, I just want this. So I always get very surprised being in the media. I hear so many stories. So there's this group of ladies who want this, and then there's another group who really wants to find a life partner. So marriage in today's world with the women, what's going on?
Marriage is a beautiful institution constituted by God himself. And if anyone is to ask, can I recommend it? Yes, I would, 100%, because it's a beautiful institution. But it's an institution where you don't just go in because everybody else is going in. It's an institution where you need to go in because you are ready for it. Because it comes with its own privileges. It comes with its own challenges. There are challenges in marriages. We should not run away from that fact in as much as it is beautiful. Just like a rose. It's beautiful, but it's, it's got thorns. The same with yes, they'll prick. So there comes a time in marriage. Sometimes those thorns will prick you, but you've got to to stick to your partner and hang in there. And if you look at it again, you'd find that with marriage comes certain things like because when you get married, sometimes babies start coming forth, and maybe you are a career woman, whether you like it or not. No matter how ambitious you may be, certain things because of your gender, you slow down a little bit. Imagine your job demands you traveling a lot and you're expecting. How do you travel? So that becomes a challenge. Or you really want maybe to go to this conference, but your pregnancy is giving you challenges. You can't fly. And so there are certain things which are beyond a woman. And not only that, when you look at it also, when you talk about marriage from a cultural perspective, there are so many things that are placed. There are so many demands on a woman. A woman should do this, a woman should sweep, a woman should cook for the husband, a woman should work for the husband. It's basically a woman should do this. And not a man should do this, but a woman should do this. So it's more or less like you get married and then it's not, at some point you start realizing, is this really what I really wanted? Because you realize now you cannot live your life. You do not have the space to do what you want to do. Your career cannot blossom because there are these small babies. And even when the baby comes forth, you talk about babysitters, they're not easy to find. You want to go, but there's no one to leave your baby with. And trust me, your husband will go. You are a woman, you've got to remain with this baby.
How are women in athletics handling this? I mean, I'm at the height of my career. The height of my career is the height of my social life as well. So there's, maybe I get somebody, a life partner here, and I'm supposed to be practicing, I'm supposed to be going to this tournament and whatnot. So how are women in the sporting discipline handling this?
There are a lot of dynamics that goes into it. I'm one of the living testimony.
Tell us.
When I was doing judo. Because my husband could not just support that in the, playing sport. You just have to balance and also make your partner understand that this is your passion. And also respect what you want to do. And also to be honest, but I can commend women. Women are doing quite a lot to look after their marriages, their families, and they are sacrificing quite a lot. What we need, as parents, we need to start educating our boys when they go into marriage, that it's not something that can be treated casually. They have to respect their partners and move together and allow each other's, to do things as according to their interest and support them. But it cuts a lot of careers for the young girls in sport, because when you are in the mother's way, as you have said, you cannot, continue. And then there are a lot of jealousies that goes into play. Your partner cannot allow you playing squash with another, opposite sex. Jealous comes in and it puts strain on your marriage. So all sorts of things. Even if you are just joking, your husband sees something in it. So it's quite complicated, but you work on it and try to discuss it. Communication is what is important.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Another thing, when Antela was talking about, things changing as you find this partner, there's the issue of fertility in women. I'll be coming to that because I know Lungo is doing something with self-esteem of women, regardless physical or what you're doing. But let's just get a comment from our audience.
I just wanted to comment on the issue of women, marriage, and career. I think, like the panel has already mentioned, it's a way of balancing things. Because for me, my husband, the time, may his soul rest in peace anyway, when I was married, he called me a rebel once.
How did you end up getting that name?
Because I decided to go back to school to advance my studies at Ziali. So I went to school whilst I was 7 months pregnant.
Wow.
And I was so tired, and he would just say, yeah, a rebel. Each time comes, yeah, a rebel. Are you going to manage? And I had to prove a point. I had to prove it to him that despite me being pregnant, I can still study. I can still do my wifely duties and my motherly duties, which worked so well for me. I never complained though. So it's just an issue of balancing between your career and being a wife and also being a mother, because handling little kids is just out of this world. But it's just an issue of balancing and also proving a point as a woman that you can do it. Despite any challenges, you have to push yourself. You don't have to look at who's saying what, it's just a matter of pushing yourself. For instance, my boss is a woman. I support her business, she supports me as well. And that's how we work. She works from Sweden, I work from here. But on a daily basis, we are able to communicate, and we have to prove a point to the world that we can do this. That despite any challenges, like sometimes we face challenges in the corporate world where we say some companies would prefer to get an events team from abroad, from South Africa, from UK, and they'll leave you out. They say, no, you can't do it. but we'll say it's fine. We'll find something else to do, and we have to push each and every day. So as a woman, you don't just sit around because somebody said no. No doesn't mean you have to fight. You really have to fight for yourself. It's a matter of life. I always say it's a matter of life and death. I have to fight for my life. I have to fight for the little ones I have, and I have to fight for society, for other women. They also need to learn from us. Like, I always watch her on TV, and I'm always impressed because, and my lady there, it's really amazing, yes, to see the work they do, because we have to learn from each other. The pull him Down syndrome, pull her Down syndrome should just end as women. We just support each other.
I also just wanted to say, like she said about communication, I think we should also be brave enough to choose the right partner. Yes. Because a lot of the times I think we're influenced by society. Oh, you have to get married. You have to like, you can't say no if you do feel like this partner is not going to support you through your life and career. Because at the end of the day, it's not about, you know, him being jealous about this. And I know it's flattering for your guy to be jealous if you're talking to another. But in truth, like at the bottom of it, he should be able to support you whatever you want to do. He should be able to, if he sees that my woman is ambitious, she wants to do this, she wants to make something out of her life to better our family, to better our children, he should be there, standing by you, doing it. He shouldn't be afraid, you know. He should have the courage to also say, I'm proud of my woman. She's doing something great. So we should choose right. Choose right.
So from now on, if you're not taken, when someone asks you who's your ideal man, some of those qualities should squeeze in.
Exactly.
Not daft and handsome.
Exactly.
Okay, so I started talking about fertility and not being able to have children. This is also something that's really happening in our society, and it's affecting women, regardless of if it's not Judy who cannot have the child. Maybe it's my partner who cannot make us have that family that we need. But then there's this thing where women, I can't come to Madam Matilda and just tell her if I don't know. It's like I'll hide until I go through these tests, these fertility issues. What is that all about? Is it society that's making women feel that it is wrong not to have a child? Let's talk, is it Fat and Fab with a PH?
It's Fat and Fabulous, yes. Yes. You know, sometimes it will make you feel that way because of what society is saying out there. You know, parents, perhaps your mother-in-law will tell you, oh no, you can't give us a child, we want a child. So it's what people will be telling you that will be seeping in you so much that it will make you uncomfortable, and you'll feel less of a woman. Thus, your self-esteem is affected, and your self-confidence is also affected. Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you're counseling women, Auntie Stella, if I come to you with a situation like this, what do you say to me? Does it help? Does it change anything?
Well, God's time is the best because children are a gift from God. But like it has been indicated, society, most of the time, is what really makes women feel so bad, feel intimidated, feel inferior, and the like. When in the actual sense, sometimes there might be literally nothing wrong with a woman. Sometimes it's the man who is at fault, but society believes it's a woman. When there is no child in a home, it's a woman. But at the end of the day, I think women need to be encouraged. You know, they need to be encouraged, and they need to be reminded that children are a gift from God, and that even when you do not have the fruit of the womb, you're still a woman. You can still do something. There are options of adoption now. You can adopt. If you don't want to go legally adopt, you can keep your sister's child, your cousin's child, anybody's child, and then you will be able to be happy and still be a parent. So it's not really about really being feel so squeezed in that tight corner and feel you're less of a woman. No, you need to rise up and you know, be happy, be free-spirited, and know that you are a woman who can still be able to do something and still be able to flourish.
Yeah. We have a comment.
I'm back.
Yes.
There's a
Please
point.
keep coming back.
Thank you. There's a point you raise about certain women who just want to get into marriage for the sake of to please the society. I'll go back to the Bible. the Bible tells us to say man was not lonely, but he was alone. So he needed an helper. And then it goes on to tell us to say, he that finds a wife finds a good thing. So if you find yourself with a man who can't see the goodness in you, then he hasn't found the good thing. So you should find a person who's going to help you fulfill your purpose. And if he doesn't help you fulfill your purpose, you are not in for the right thing. It is not a must for you to get married. It is only a must if it is with your purpose filler. Thank you.
I'm learning terms today. Purpose filler. Okay. When we get into that marriage, sometimes we just let loose. But let's talk about keeping in shape, keeping healthy, eating right, and just making sure that, you know, some of the diseases that can be actually curbed are curbed via our lifestyle. I think that would be our closing remarks, and throw in a little bit something for the housewife. I'll start from Samba. Coming this way.
So I've been always a healthy eater and lead a relatively healthy lifestyle. And I find that, you know, mind, body, and soul go together, you know what I mean? So most of us always want to focus on the mind and, you know, fulfill the soul, whether it's spiritually, and then the mind, whether it's intellectually. But the body does count. We usually leave it out. It's an important factor as well. Because, by the way, the body is usually a barometer of how our inside is doing, you know? So all these kind of diseases that develop, there are diseases of stress, of the mind, or because we're not leading a healthy lifestyle. And you always have to remember that and pay attention to your body as well. So when your body is when you feel a headache, when you feel a certain way, when you feel lethargic, pay attention. There's something going on in your mind, there's something going on in your soul. And usually when you fix that, then you can fix yourself, because if you don't fix yourself, you can't be good for other people. Yeah.
You cannot, definitely.
Yeah. For me, I think one thing I need to get back to is exercise. Lately, I've been so preoccupied with this, that, but I think I need to get back to those days when I would do aerobics, I'd go to the gym, and I miss those times.
But you're not energetic still, eh?
I do, but I think I'm getting there, and it's something that I would recommend to any woman out there, because really when you've put it on your schedule, you're able to do exercise, run, jog, do aerobics. I think it's beautiful. It's a nice thing. I do that once in a while, but I think it must be a lifestyle. And once you make it a lifestyle, you are assured of a healthy, productive life.
We know the sports people are always running. They're always so exercise and whatnot is not an issue. But issues of breast cancer, cervical cancer.
Well, if I knew what we learn now, I wouldn't be like this. But I was very, very active. But what we are trying to do is to first buy into the young people to start appreciating doing physical activity and recreation as a way of life, starting from, you know, the time they are in school up to when they grow up. And also learning the benefits of keeping fit, eating healthy, and all that. Because this information is kept away from us when we are young. And then we're also appealing to our partners that when they want to indulge in doing sport or doing any activity, they should not do it alone. They should go with the family, because a man just find that if I go and play squash alone, it's okay. Yeah. My wife can go straight home. But if you are, you know, working together, doing sports and activities together, it will be good for everyone.
Okay. Lungoy, wrap it up for us.
Sure. As you know, I have a body positive movement where we foster body positivity for plus-size women as well as women in society. So we do encourage, in as much as I say I'm fat and I'm fabulous.
I hear African men like a little bit of flesh.
Well, I don't know about that. But
please don't.
Yes. So even if we do say, you know, love yourself, be confident with yourself, we also encourage to be healthy, because as Samba has said, I mean, if you're not okay inside, then you're not going to be okay for the next person. Yeah. So you need to also inspire and motivate the next woman to be the best that they can be.
This has been our March 8th celebration for women. When I say you have made my day, it's coming from here. From the production crew of this Women's Dialogue, we thank you so much for coming through, and we hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. So from the production crew of Women's Dialogue for today, I have been Judy Ngulube. Thank you so much, and happy Women's Day. Happy Women's Day.